Lionel Messi's performance against Algeria did not only impact Argentine fans, it did not only travel around the world because of his goals, his records, and the emotion he left on the field. It also generated reactions from historic figures in soccer, even from players who for years stood on the other side of the continent's most intense rivalry. And one of the comments that drew the most attention came from Marcelo, former Brazil national team player and one of Real Madrid's legends, who did not hide his admiration for what Messi once again did in the Argentina shirt. After Argentina's 3-0 win over Algeria, on a night when Messi scored a hat-trick and once again placed himself at the center of the world stage, Marcelo was asked about the Argentine captain's level, and his answer was as simple as it was powerful. For him, what Messi does no longer fits within the normal standards of soccer. "Messi is not real," Marcelo reportedly said, almost with a smile and an expression of amazement. "We have been watching him for 20 years. We know what he can do. We know his quality, his story, his way of playing. But even so, when he appears in a World Cup at almost 39 years old and plays a match like the one yesterday, you get that feeling again that you are watching something that has no explanation." The phrase perfectly sums up what millions of people felt after the match. Because what Messi did against Algeria was not just a great individual performance. It was a statement of relevance, a confirmation that time passes for everyone, but that for certain players, it seems to pass in a different way. Messi, at an age when most players have already left the elite or are carefully managing their final years, once again dominated a World Cup match, as if he were still in his best physical and mental version. Marcelo, who faced him many times during his time at Real Madrid, knows better than almost anyone what it means to have Messi in front of you. He suffered him in Clásicos, watched him decide impossible matches, chased him down the wing, faced him on nights of maximum tension, and learned that against him, no defensive plan is ever completely safe. That is why his words carried special weight. They were not the words of a distant admirer. They were the words of someone who shared an era with Messi and experienced up close how difficult it is to stop him. "I played against him for many years," Marcelo reportedly continued, "and there was always a strange feeling. You could prepare the match, you could study his movements, you could talk to your teammates about how to close down the spaces. But when the ball reached him, everything changed. He saw things the rest of us did not see. And yesterday, the same thing happened again. Algeria knew it had to control him, but saying it is one thing and doing it is something very different." The match began with Argentina taking on the weight of being world champion. Scaloni's team arrived at its debut with the responsibility of defending its crown and with enormous expectations surrounding Messi. There were doubts about how he was arriving physically, about how much he could play, about whether the team would once again depend on his inspiration. But as soon as the ball started rolling, it became clear that the Argentine captain was ready for another big night. Messi did not need to run across the entire field or impose himself physically. His match was a demonstration of intelligence. He moved between the lines, appeared in open spaces, accelerated when he needed to accelerate, and paused when Argentina needed to breathe. Every touch had intention. Every movement dragged defenders with him. Every time he lifted his head, Algeria seemed to arrive 1 second late. For Marcelo, that is precisely the most impressive part of Messi at this stage of his career. It is no longer just about speed, dribbling, or explosiveness. It is about reading the game, about understanding soccer with a clarity that few players have had in history. The most incredible thing about Messi now is that he does not need to do 10 things to destroy a match, the Brazilian reportedly explained. Before, he could start from midfield, leave 3 or 4 players behind, and finish. Now he can also hurt you in another way. He can walk, look, wait, touch the ball once, and suddenly the match has already changed. That is what makes him different. He does not depend only on his body. His mind is ahead of everyone. The first goal was the moment that opened the night. Messi appeared in the right place and gave Argentina the calm it needed. But beyond the goal, what moved people was his reaction. The emotion on his face, the tears, the way he brought his shirt up to his face to wipe his eyes. It was a different, intimate human image. An image that reminded everyone that even soccer giants carry their own battles. Marcelo would also have noticed that detail. Because for someone who has lived with the pressure of elite soccer, that kind of emotion does not go unnoticed. When you see a player like Messi get emotional like that, you understand that behind everything we see, there are many things we do not know, he reportedly pointed out. People look at the goals, the records, the titles, but the player lives with pressure, lives through personal moments, lives with enormous responsibilities. And even so, he steps onto the field and responds. That also speaks to his greatness. After the first goal, Argentina loosened up. The team began to play with more calm, more confidence, and more authority. Rodrigo de Paul, Alexis Mac Allister, Enzo Fernandez, and the rest of the midfield found better connections. The fullbacks pushed forward with more security. The forwards attacked the spaces with greater conviction. But the emotional and soccer center of the team continued to be Messi. Every time the ball went through him, Argentina transmitted danger. It did not matter whether he was near the box, in the final third, or dropping deeper to start the play. Messi organized everything. And Algeria, which at times tried to compete with intensity, ended up trapped in that feeling so many national teams have suffered. The feeling of making an enormous effort and still sensing that Messi can solve everything in a single play. The second goal finished tilting the match. It was another display of opportunism, reading, and hierarchy. Messi once again appeared at the exact moment, punished another mistake, and showed again that his instinct remains intact. At that point, it was no longer only about winning the debut. It was about witnessing another historic performance. "I was watching the match and thinking, this cannot be normal," Marcelo reportedly said. "We are talking about a player who has already won everything, who has already broken every record, who does not have to prove anything to anyone, and still, he plays with hunger. He still wants more. He still looks for the goal. He still helps his teammates. He still competes as if he needed to convince the world all over again." That phrase connects with one of Messi's greatest virtues in the current Argentina national team. After winning the Copa America, the Finalissima, and the World Cup, his relationship with the Argentina shirt changed forever. He no longer plays with the weight of an unfinished debt. He plays with the freedom of someone who has reconciled with his own story. But that freedom did not make him less competitive. On the contrary, it made him calmer, more complete, more in control of every moment. And that is where another reason appears for why Marcelo considers Argentina one of the big favorites to win the Cup. Not only because of Messi, also because of the structure around him, because of the team's solidity, Scaloni's work, the group's mentality, and the confidence transmitted by a national team that already knows what it means to win in the most difficult moments. Argentina is definitely a favorite, Marcelo reportedly stated. Not only because it has Messi, although that already changes everything. It is a favorite because it has a very strong, very well-worked team with players who understand their role. You can see that they believe in what they do. You can see that they have an identity. And when a champion team keeps that mentality, you have to respect it a lot. For a Brazilian, admitting that Argentina is a favorite is not always an easy phrase. The rivalry between the two countries is part of soccer history. Brazil and Argentina watch each other, compare themselves, and challenge each other. But there is also deep admiration when a talent appears who goes beyond any border. And Messi, for a long time now, has belonged to that category. He may wear the shirt of the biggest rival, but his soccer demands respect. Marcelo knows it. He shared a generation with enormous players. He played with Cristiano Ronaldo for years. He faced some of the best attackers in the world. He won Champions Leagues, league titles, international trophies, and lived nights of maximum demand. That is why, when he talks about Messi, he does not do it from the exaggeration of a fan, but from the perspective of a soccer player who understands how difficult it is to sustain excellence for so long. There are players who have one incredible year, 2 incredible years, 1 incredible period, he reportedly reflected. But what Messi has done is something else. 20 years at the top, 20 years being decisive, 20 years making the difficult look easy, and now he is doing it in a World Cup at almost 39 years old. That is why I say he does not seem real, because it is not normal. The third goal was the final image of that feeling. Messi completed his hat trick with authority, sealed the 3-0 win, and unleashed a massive ovation. It was his first hat trick in a World Cup and, at the same time, a night that took him level with the historic record for goals in World Cups. 16 goals, 6 World Cups, a career that was already in history, but that still finds ways to grow even bigger. When he was substituted, the stadium rose to its feet. It was not only applause from the Argentines, it was recognition for a living legend, for a player who, even in the final stage of his career, continues to provoke amazement, for someone who transforms a group stage match into a night the world talks about for hours. You have to enjoy him, Marcelo reportedly concluded. Sometimes, because of rivalry, arguments, and comparisons, people forget to enjoy it. But when a player like Messi does what he did yesterday, it does not matter what country you are from. You have to watch and say, this is soccer. This is history. You do not see this every day. Argentina began the World Cup with a commanding victory. Messi began the tournament with a performance that once again moved the planet. And Marcelo, from the perspective of someone who knows the greatness and demands of elite soccer like few others, left an idea that sums it all up. Argentina is a favorite, yes. But with Messi playing like this, the word favorite almost seems to fall short. Because at almost 39 years old, Messi is not only still competing, he is still deciding, he is still moving people, he is still breaking records, he is still making rivals, teammates, fans, and soccer legends ask themselves the same thing. How can he still play like this? How can he still seem so superior? How can it be that, after everything he has won, he still has nights like this? And maybe Marcelo is right. Maybe Messi simply is not real.